Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we would be discussing about the nudge theory proposed by Richard Thaler. It is an economics Nobel Prize winning theory. So we will be looking at the details of nudge theory, what does it mean and how it is useful or how it is beneficial in the Indian context. We will also understand some international examples and we will also see what the recent economic survey has proposed about usage of nudge theory in behavioral economics in India. So we will discuss all these topics under this lecture. So let us begin. Let us first understand what is nudge theory. So nudge theory is basically a theory in economics, the behavioral economics that provide insights about nudging people towards desirable behavior. So what is meant by the term nudge? Nudge means giving a push. This is the literal meaning of the word nudge. So nudge means giving a push to the people to bring in desired behavior from them. So that is nudge theory. So in nudge theory, the liberty of the people to choose has been preserved. So when people are incentivized or when people are asked to behave at a desirable behavior or according to a desirable behavior, it doesn't mean that the liberty or the personal liberty of the people is harmed. So we will look into the details of the nudge theory, then this concept will be more clear to you. So here what you need to understand is that nudge theory is a theory in behavioral economics which states that by providing a nudge, that is by providing some incentives, people can be changed or the behavior of the people can be changed in order to bring a desirable outcome or a desirable behavior from them, which will be highly beneficial for the people and also the society or the country at large. That is nudge theory, and nudge theory also says that this is done by preserving the civil liberty or the personal liberty of the people to choose. That means people are not compelled or people are not forcefully made to do something. So here the liberty is preserved. That is nudge theory. Now if you look at some examples in the Indian context, one example is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign. Second one is Swachh Bharat mission. So both of these are campaigns or aims at behavioral change of human beings or citizens of the country. So this is an application of nudge theory in India. And this has been highly successful. So both these campaigns, one is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao and the second one is Swachh Bharat mission. So both of these campaigns aims at behavioral changes. So by incentivizing them, the government is aiming at behavioral changes of the citizens and thereby desirable outcomes or desirable behavior has been brought in. And this will benefit not only the citizens but also the society and the country at large. So this is an example of nudge theory from Indian context. Now if we look at the nudge theory in detail, we will see that this is a policy shift or this is an example of a policy that will encourage people to make decisions that are at their broad self-interest. So this is a policy wherein the behavior of the people are changed or nudged and thereby desirable outcomes are brought in. Now it does not penalize. We have seen that it does not affect the civil liberty of people to choose. It is providing incentives. It does not penalize people, especially financial penalty will not be charged from the people, but it makes it easier for people to take certain decisions. So by changing the behavior or by nudging the behavior of an individual, certain decisions can be taken by the individual at more ease. Now what is important while applying the nudge theory? It is very much important to know how people think. So the government or the policy makers should be able to understand and analyze the behavioral patterns of the people or how do they think and how do they behave. So by understanding the behavioral patterns of the people, how do they think, how do they react and how do they make decisions, it is easy for policy makers to apply this nudge theory. So as we said in the beginning, nudge theory is a concept in behavioral economics. So it suggests ways and measures to nudge or to influence the behavioral patterns of individuals. And this nudge theory became popular in the year 2017 when the American economist Richard Thaler got Nobel Prize in Economics for his nudge theory. And since then, the policymakers around the world has been using the nudge theory and it has become more popular. And now if we need to explain this theory assumes that human beings to a larger extent are not rational. So they are not so rational and therefore they need certain encouragement or they need certain intervention. So they are not so rational. Therefore they need an encouragement or an intervention from the part of the government or the policy makers. And this nudge or this encouragement or intervention is known as nudge. And by providing this encouragement or an intervention, what is the desired outcome? The outcome is that the best possible result or the best possible outcome can be utilized for the human beings or the individuals and also for the society and the country at large. So this is the desired outcome of nudge theory. So to put it simply, nudge theory is a behavioral theory in economics which tries to influence the behavior of human beings in a way that will benefit the human beings and also the society and the country at large. So this is nudge theory. Now, if we come back to the Indian example, that is the example of Swachh Bharat Mission and Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign. So, if we look at both these examples from the Indian context, let us understand how nudge theory has helped. Now, I have explained the nudge theory in detail. I hope you have an understanding about nudge theory. So, it will be easy for you to understand how it has influenced the Swachh Bharat Mission and the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign in India. So, as we said in the beginning, nudge theory is a theory in behavioral economics. So it tries to influence the behavior of human beings. So in Swachh Bharat Mission and Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, the theory tries to influence the psychology of human behavior in order to bring a positive change. In Swachh Bharat Abhiyan or Swachh Bharat Mission, the positive change is towards bringing in a open defecation free country. And in Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, the focus is on the well-being of the girl child. So in both these campaigns, there is a positive influence that has been tried to be made on the individuals in order to adopt these measures. And now in the economic survey, the recent economic survey has also proposed to provide tax incentives or certain incentives to honest taxpayers in the country, thereby improve the tax compliance in the country and improve the tax base in the country. So in the economic survey, which we will see in detail in this lecture itself, how it has proposed various measures to adopt nudge theory. So in the economic survey also, it has been proposed that nudge theory can be applied in various areas in order to bring behavioral change in the citizens in India, especially with regard to tax compliance. Now let us move on to the economic survey and let us understand what the economic survey has to tell about the nudge theory and the application of nudge theory in our country. So the economic survey has advocated the use of behavioral economics concept of nudge. So this is a behavioral economic theory. So it has proposed the use of nudge theory to a larger application in India and to encourage desirable social and economic change. So by influencing the behavior of individuals through nudge, we can encourage desirable social and economic outcomes. Now, it also recommended the setting up of a behavioral economics unit within the Niti Aayog. So, this behavioral economics unit will be set up under the Niti Aayog. This will be a separate institution which will promote nudge theory and the application of nudge theory. That is, the application of nudge theory in the sense that the behavior of the individuals be influenced. So a separate behavioral economics unit within the Niti Aayog will be set up, and this is according to the recommendation of the economic survey. So this is the recommendation of economic survey. Now moving on, let us see some international examples of the application of nudge theory. The first one is the pension policy in United Kingdom. So UK has adopted this nudge theory in their pension policy. So the background was that there was low savings among the private sector workers. Among the private sector workers in United Kingdom, there was lesser rates of savings. And in order to promote the savings rate within the private sector employees, they applied the nudge theory. They tried to influence the behavior of the employees. And By applying the nudge theory, they brought in automatic enrollment scheme. And within the automatic enrollment scheme, automatically the employees would be registered for the pension scheme or the pension policy. And those employees who does not want to become a part of this pension policy, they had an option to withdraw themselves. So this is how the nudge theory was influenced, or nudge theory was applied in United Kingdom. And the result was that within a span of 4 years, the rate of employees who had enrolled for the pension policy increased almost 4 times. So this was the outcome. So the desired outcome was achieved. Now, in case of Spain, another example is the Spain example. So here nudge theory was adopted for organ donation. So according to the nudge theory, they adopted an opt-out system. It means that it was compulsory for every Spain citizen to donate their organs. And those who did not want to do this, they had an option to withdraw from the scheme. So this made Spain the hub of organ donation. So this theory was applied at international levels and they have proved to be successful. And from this success stories, India also adopted nudge theory in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And now in the economic survey and also in the budget, it has been proposed that the nudge theory will be used in a larger extent in our country in order to influence the behavioral patterns of individuals. So we have already seen economic survey has proposed to set up an behavioral economics unit even within the Niti Aayog. So all these are positive steps towards adoption or larger adoption of nudge theory in India. Now, the biggest criticism of nudge theory is that it harms the civil liberty or it infringes the civil liberty. If we look at the nudge theory in detail, we will understand that it does not harm the civil liberty. It does not infringe the civil liberties. This is because the nudge theory does not penalize any individual. Financial penalty is not charged upon any individuals, and the individuals or the citizens always have the option to withdraw also. So it does not infringe any civil liberties, and nudge theory is also becoming increasingly popular among world leaders in different countries around the world. So the popularity of the nudge theory itself proves that it has brought in positive change without harming the civil liberty of the individuals. So I hope you have an idea about nudge theory. This is a very important topic, especially if you appear for any interview. This can be a possible question. So this is very important, and in your UPSC paper also you can quote the example of nudge theory in your ethics paper, in your GS3 paper, in your essay paper. So from all this competitive examination perspective, this is a very important theory, especially because this is a Nobel Prize winning concept. Thank you so much.